Hi, my name is Ed Schmitt. This is my first video journal. I did mine on the Sean Harper, Andrew Nichols paper. Are they not all the same? Racial heterogeneity among black male undergraduates. And it seems like this was the very first in-depth study that they've made about black undergraduates. Um, as a whole, they tended to group all the rest. Before this, they tended to group all the rest of blacks together in one solid group without considering the various subgroups and differences that there may be among the black groups themselves. And it was very interesting in that they didn't treat them as a homogeneous group. They tried to study them and notice what was different about each black group, and how not only did they differ, but what were their feelings and how did they come to feel the way they did about other groups. And it seemed to me that the main thing that they used as criteria were they affluent or non-affluent? Did they come from urban areas or suburban areas, and what kind of competition existed between these subgroups. You would Most blacks that they interviewed felt like before they went to college felt like that all all blacks would have something in common and that they could bond with each other, and they found that once they got to college that wasn't necessarily the case. They found that just simply because of the way that you dress, or the way that you talked, or the way that you even address somebody on the sidewalk designated you in a certain group. If you said hey or hello to somebody, that automatically meant that you were probably from the suburban area, or if you wore Ralph Lauren or Abercrombie and Fitch clothes, that again you were from the the suburban groups. And if you wore something like Fat Farm, then that probably meant you were from the urban groups. And a lot of times these people, not only did they not disassociate with each other, but there tended to be much competition between each other as far as making friends or meeting women, or things in that venue. Um, the neighborhoods and stuff where you came from pretty much designated what kind of person you were and who you got to hang out with. And it found that for the large part that blacks from urban areas tended to hang out with other blacks from urban areas, and blacks from suburban areas either hung out with other suburban blacks or actually hung out with white groups on campus. They found that people that were in fraternities, the Black Greek organizations, were looked up upon by most people that weren't in a fraternity as elitist and arrogant. And strangely enough, that the student athletes, were looked on as privileged and arrogant, and for some reason they were all looked on as intellectually inferior. I thought this was a very interesting article, and it's something that I never thought about as being a white person. I never thought about subgroups in the black race, but it was very enlightening for me.